Hey guys, this is Eskimo Poodle, and we are back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time in the Nintendo 64. Last time, we went ahead and went through the rest of Ganon's castle here, and took on Ganon himself after upgrading our defensive power. And it was the best match of ping pong / tennis that we'd ever seen in our life, especially once I realized, hey, shoot him with the light arrows, idiot. So it worked out pretty good. And now we have 3 minutes to escape the castle before we are crushed inevitably here. And there we go. Princess Zelda, using her magical sage powers of purpliness, will open the gates for us, because otherwise we'd be completely and utterly screwed. So yeah, let's just go ahead and head over here. Or somewhere else, I guess. Oh, there we go. That makes sense. That's the only one that's not blocked by like a door or something. There we go. Let's not jump off the wrong way, shall we? Princess Zelda is doing her duty, doing awesome at it too. She lifts those gates like a champion. Talk about doing the heavy lifting. I'm joking. There are going to be a couple little minor skirmishes on the way out, so we don't want to sit there and enjoy the collapsing scenery too much. And yeah, watch out for falling boulders. They hurt you a lot more than they hurt Princess Zelda, because she's rather durable for being so dainty looking. And she's trapped in a pillar of fire. How you guys doing? That was if I just shoot you guys with the light arrows. Not a whole lot. I guess it stunned you. There you go. Nice. I'm gonna hit you too. Where'd you go? Hit him. Okay, it does stun him, so that's nice. There we go. Thank you, Link. Now let's hurry. Ooh, she drops hearts for us. She's very friendly and conscious of our needs here. At least she drops hearts and not mana, because if she just dropped mana, I'd be sad. That's what all the enemies drop in the game. But she's not an enemy, she's a friend. So it makes sense that she's looking after our best interests. She's got a good heart, and therefore she gives us hearts. And can we go the path of not running into every falling boulder that we see? Thanks. I mean, I can take the damage, but if your dress gets burned and it falls off and whatnot, that might raise the age rating of the game, and I personally have no problem with it. Parents, mothers specifically, might have a bit of a problem. Screw you. I'm gonna need you to fuck right off. Get off, dude. Let me see something here. How do you feel about the, well, apparently you're very resistant to light arrows. I was hoping that, being a zombie, light arrows would be your weakness, but apparently not. Okay, 30 seconds. We're cutting it kind of close. Yeah, I think they give you just about enough time to get out. If you do a little faster on the Stalfoses and you're dealing with numbnuts over there, then yeah, you have a few more seconds, but it is reasonably close. Oh, all that work the sages put into the bridge, and it lasted for what, maybe 40 minutes or so? Speaking of which, we've currently had our power of double defense for a grand total of, I think, 30 minutes now. So you don't get much time with it, sadly. It's over. It's finally over. Link, I'm sorry I couldn't help you in the battle before. What is that sound? Well, I guess we're gonna go find out. Let's go. Head towards the rubble and the ruin. Princess Zelda gets locked out. And Ganondorf transforms into Ganon, his ultra beast ego, I guess. And despite the fact that we weren't wielding it, the Master Sword gets knocked out of our hands. There's no way he's going to hold me back again. This time we fight together. And I like his giant frickin' size or whatever they are. Now, if you somehow don't have the big Goron sword, I think they expect you to use like the hammer or something to actually do stuff here. But for the time being, our goal is to swipe Ganon in his big purple tail because somehow he decided that he was going to make a weak point way back then. Not entirely sure why, but hey. He does what he does. Let's see. I don't think the light arrows do much besides, a quick stun. It's not doing a lot of damage, that's for sure. And Zelda is a very active commentator in the fight. She screams, she screams a bit more. And luckily he's nice enough to drop mana. No, it's terribly necessary. And his tail is rather durable. I don't know if he ever drops any hearts. But either way, I'm not terribly worried about it since with our power of defense, we're not taking that much damage from him. So I'm good. Let's go ahead and knock off his tail one more time. Eventually, his tail will get tired of getting beat up, and we'll move on to the next part here. Yeah, even with the power of double defense, he does do a fair amount of damage here. There we go. Come on. Hit his tail again. There you go. I don't know if hitting his tail with the light arrow did anything, or if that was just the last hit, but either way it worked. Link, the Master Sword is here. Hurry up. Hurry up, where did you go? Ah, over there. And there we go, we've got our Master Sword back. And now we can go ahead and attack Ganon with the Master Sword instead of whatever we were attacking him with before. Let's go ahead and attack him. So, get revived by our fairy here. I mean, Ganon does plenty of damage, but he's not going to do, 60 hearts of damage to us. So I think we've got this in the bag. Yeah, just gotta be a little bit more careful here. And even if I run out of mana, I do have I do have stuff to cover, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Every once in a while, not very often, he will block the light arrows with a sword, but it's not a very common occurrence from what I've seen. Okay, let's go ahead and get ready eventually to have this guy. For now, though, let's just go ahead and just head for his tail as we can. You know, I don't think I've ever actually bothered doing that jump attack on his face to, you know, probably do that little stun attack or be stunned. Okay, I think right now we actually need to keep him stunned with the light arrow, so let's go ahead and chug. Come on. Actually, I think if you wanted to, you could use the bigger one right here to reduce the amount of hits on his tail. You just have to do the final actual damage to Ganondorf with the Master Sword. Come on, I need you to hit. There you go. Come on, there you go. He's probably vulnerable to other stuff, but he is, I don't remember what. Really, 40 arrows and a bottle of potion is more than enough to finish him off. I've used my power to hold the evil king. Use your sword to deliver the final blow. Now, see, when I was younger, I always re-equipped the big Goron sword, and I was wondering why I could never actually kill him. But you have to use the Master Sword in order to do the final blow here, because it's the Bane of Evil Blade. Or the Blade of Evil Bane, my bad. Six Sages, now! Ancient creators of Hyrule. Now open the sealed door and send the evil incarnation of darkness into the void of the evil realm. You. Curse you, Zelda. Curse you, sages. Curse you, Link. Someday, when this seal is broken, that is when I will exterminate your descendants. As long as the Triforce of Power is in my hand. Thank you, Link. Thanks to you, Ganondorf has been sealed inside the evil realm. Thus, peace will once again reign in this world, for a time. All the tragedy that has befallen Hyrule was my doing. I was so young, I could not comprehend the consequences of trying to control the sacred realm. I dragged you into it too. Now it is time for me to make up for my mistakes. You must lay the Master Sword to rest and close the door of time. However, by doing this, the road between times will be closed. Link, give the Ocarina to me. As a sage, I can return you to your original time with it. When peace returns to Hyrule, it will be time for us to say goodbye. Now go home, Link. Regain your lost time. Home, where you are supposed to be. The way you're supposed to be. Thank you, Link. Goodbye. And there we have it. We have finally finished The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, minus a couple things like getting the biggest quiver, because I'm not great at horseback archery, and then the last couple Skulltulas, which we'll be getting next time. But yeah, we are finally finished. It took us a little longer than I was planning, but overall, it went pretty smoothly. I mean, yeah, I got lost in the water temple for way too long, because I didn't notice a hole in the bottom of a specific area. But other than that, I'd say we did pretty good. And I enjoyed it. There was definitely some things about it that have aged not quite as well as I would have liked, like the horseback controls and Navi and a couple other minor things, but for the most part, it's still an enjoyable game. It's not my favorite Zelda, not by a long shot, but it's a good one. Honestly, I think if I had to say my favorite Zelda, that'd probably be... let's see, out of the ones that I've played at least, because I haven't played Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Four Swords, Minish Cap. Those are the ones that I haven't played. I think I've played a little bit. Yeah, I know I've played Twilight Princess. But yeah, out of the ones that I have played, I'd probably say something like honestly, the Game Boy games, Link's Awakening or the Oracle games, those are probably my favorite overall. With something like let's see, Wind Waker being right after, and then Majora's Mask being definitely ahead of Ocarina of Time here. Surprisingly, I have not actually played Zelda 1 or 2. I've seen plenty of gameplay of them, but for some reason, even if I do play them on the channel at some point, it's basically going to be blind, because I can never remember where to go, especially in Zelda 1, just because it's the way the map is. And if I ever get to Zelda 1, you know, second quest, I ain't got a clue, so... But yeah, out of the ones that I've played, those are probably my favorite ones. And this one, it's not too bad. It's an overall good game, but a lot of my problems with it nowadays, at the very least, stem from just control issues from the N64 and just having to work in the constant guide character such as Navi. I mean, they definitely have characters like Navi in later games, but they tone them down a little bit. Sometimes not as much as I'd like, but sometimes a whole lot. Like in Majora's Mask, you still have a fairy, but they're significantly quieter about stuff. Like, they don't stop you in your tracks half the amount of time as this game does. And this is a very odd party at the ranch. I mean, there's some people just hanging out upside down. From the gameplay I've seen of Skyward Sword, they've taken a very Navi approach to that game's helper character. She repeatedly, constantly, from what I've seen, stops you in your tracks to tell you stuff that you already know. So, and everything on that game is motion controls. So that's kind of a problem. Other than that, from what I've seen, the rest of the game is good. It's just not everything is fantastic. And I like how Mido has found a new overlord to suck up to, because that's just what he does. But yeah, enjoyable game. I like it. Just not my favorite in the series. Something I realized as I've played the game later is they didn't really add a lot in the way of items for this game, transitioning from like Super Nintendo or the Nintendo versions of the game. Like, you basically have all the basic items: sword, shield, different tunics for. Actually, no. Sword, shield, slingshot, which is basically a junior bow. You got the boomerang, the hookshot, the bow, bombs, hammer, bottles, and then a few magic spells. And then you got the elemental arrows, which are, slightly better than just having the one silver arrow in Link to the Past. And I guess, with the tunics, you have the abilities to survive underwater longer, and the ability to survive in fire. And then the heavy boots and the feather boots are nice. But other than that, they didn't add a lot of cool, innovative stuff like they added in something like Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, or I guess Wind Waker didn't have that much. But at least there they changed up how the boomerang operates. And for some reason, now that you've completed the quest, Navi just flies off. I don't know what's up with that. She's just like, yeah, you've saved the land, and now I don't want anything to do with you. Why? I have no freaking idea. Like, she knows the poor kid doesn't have a fairy back at Kokiri, which is kind of weird that Zelda's like, oh yeah, go back to where you belong. Link's always kind of felt like an outcast there because he's the only guy there without a fairy, the only guy that wants to explore outside of the world, outside of the little forest area. So, yeah, that's where he's from, but at the same time, it's a lot like he doesn't really belong there just based on kind of being a bit of an outsider. He's the only one that actually grows up. I think even if he stays there, he'll grow up. And here's Link come to warn Princess Zelda about the future timeline. So yeah, even though he was sent back to being a child, he says, hey, I'm going to make sure this girl knows what's going on and see if she can prevent it. And from what I understand, this is like the start of the branching timelines. Like, there's this version... Like there's a timeline where... There's the Kid Link timeline, which includes this and Majora's Mask and some other stuff. Then there's the timeline where Ganon wins, which is Wind Waker and I think the DS games. And I hope we can actually get past this screen, because that'd be nice. No? And then there's the timeline where he's an adult, and the timeline where he's an adult and just has kids and passes on, and that's I think the Twilight Princess, and Twilight Princess at least timeline. So it's kind of weird. Can I do anything here, game? No. But yeah, going back to the items, there's a couple different items, but at the same time they take away a lot of stuff. Like, they take away the magic wands and the attack medallions. Instead, I mean, yeah, you get 3 magic spells, but you lose like the cape for going invisible. You lose the cane that creates blocks for puzzles, even though I guess they kind of baked that into the Song of Time. So yeah, there's plenty of good items here, but I don't know, I just felt like the items in A Link to the Past, and from what I've seen, just the original Legend of Zelda were a little bit better, a little bit more fun, and I don't think it's going to let me actually go past this. But overall, I enjoyed the game. Some control issues with Epona aside. I don't know if I'll play it again anytime soon. And if I do, I might try to get a hold of the 3DS version and see how things have changed for the better or for the worse there. Because from what I understand, like the gyroscopic controls really help with like aiming the bow and like other stuff like that. And you have like quick items. So that seems like it'll be nice. But other than that, fun game, but I think I'm done playing it. I mean, people like to do randomizers of the game, but that's not something I'm terribly interested in because I like being able to follow the path I was supposed to go. And with the randomizers, it's like, hey, you open a chest at the beginning of the game, and instead of getting the heart piece, you get 5 rupees. Or instead of opening the chest and getting a bundle of arrows, you get the blue tunic or something like that. You get kind of weird stuff. So I don't know. But overall, enjoyable game. And next episode, we're going to go ahead and go after all the Skulltulas. So, guys, thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.